Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so looking again at the Sri Brhad Bhagavatamrta, chapter part 2, the glories of Goloka, and the section entitled Bhajan. Okay, text 166 today. 67. Okay. There you go. You can see it? No, you can't.
Yeah, we can.
Share screen. Okay, you can see it now. Great. So 167. Right. It's all about chant, all about Sankirtan. It's all about the glories of the holy name. Specifically, chanting in Sankirtan. So I just read a few verses back, and a wonderful glorification. So we'll continue in that, and it's going to be describing the how the devotees relish such chanting of the holy name. Yeah. So Mother Sachari, you have your hand up, so you can take us into it in today's reading. 167.
Yeah. Text 167. Nam to Sankirtanam Arti Bharan Megham Veena Pravisre Chatakanam Ratra Viyogat Swapate Rathangi Vargasya Chakshosana Vat Pratithi. Like the distressed crying of the Chataka birds on a cloudless day of the rainy season, or the lamenting of a flock of Chakravaki birds when parted from their husbands at night. The Sankirtana of the Lord's names arise when one is burdened by too much pain. Commentary. Nama Sankirtana, in fact, appears only when prema has been enhanced in a special way. Prema enriched with transcendental hankering results in Sankirtana. To help us understand the Vaikuntha Dutas mentioned, by way of analogy, the Chataka and the Chakravaki birds, the plaintive calls of the Chatakas surrounding like Priya, Priya, my dear one, my dear one, these sounds on cloudless days of the rainy season. And the lament of the Chakravaki fills the sky when their husbands are absent at night. In such a way, Nama Sankirtana arises when one feels separation from the Lord and pure love of God. The true way of doing Bhagavan Nama Sankirtana is to call out to one's loved Lord in agony, expressing one's feeling in various sweet songs to attract him. As the philosophical maxim states, Siddhasya Lakshanam Yat Syat Sadhanam Sadasya Tat. The practitioner and the means of practice should be in accord with their goal.
Right, so this sounds familiar, doesn't it? This is what we're studying in our Sankalpa Kaumudi readings, Bhava, Seva, chanting the holy name in feelings of separation, Ripalamba Bhava. I think most devotees here are taking part in that reading. And you can recall that's what we're reading at the moment there. And more or less it's saying here, it gives a word, expresses in a great agony. So in the agony of separation, expressing one's feeling with very sweet songs. Yeah, so this is the mood. And Maharaj quotes this as well a lot in Sankalpa Kaumudi. Siddhasya Lakshanam Yatshat Sadanam Shadhakshat. The practitioner and the means of practice should be in accord with their goal. So that means we're chanting the Maha Mantra, but we have a certain goal in mind. There's certain thing that we are aspiring for. And then that will create a certain mood in which we are chanting. So interesting, it's mentioned here. Hare Krishna. So please, anyone like to make any comments or questions, please feel free to, as usual. But you can continue, Mother Sahachari.
Yeah.
This is
Text 168. The wonderfully varied sweetness of Sankirtana emerges only by the mercy shown in various wonderful ways by the Lord, the wonderful ocean of the varied rasas of pastimes. This sweetness one can never truly achieve by one's own endeavor. Commentary. The devotees who prefer meditation to Sankirtan might argue that chanting in full view of the public is risky in several ways. Envious people may try to interfere, one may succumb to the allurement of popularity, one may not have the required physical strength, or one may be too sick to chant properly. These dangers do not arise when a devotee simply concentrates on the Supreme Lord in a secluded place. In answer to this objection, the Vaikuntha messenger says that Nam Sankirtana cannot be disrupted by obstacles, for it develops by the mercy of the Lord, not by one's own endeavor. No one can take away that which a devotee has gained as a gift from the Lord. This is true not only for the Sankirtana, but also all the 9 methods of bhakti.
Okay.
Text 169.
That is, could say something on each of these purports is very nice. Sometimes we may feel like.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yes, go ahead, Mother.
Sorry, I just have a question. On the last purport, I think it said the Sankirtan names arise when one is burdened by too much pain. I mean, is that I mean, should we be embracing pain as a means to have the holy name arise? It seems like it's a little tough, that one.
Yeah, as I said, I think it's referring to the desiring Krishna, the pain and agony of separation. I think this is what he was referring. It's not physical pain. So,
Okay.
so one is feeling Vipralamba, Viraha Bhav from Krishna, and one's calling out, one's expressing one's feelings to be united with Krishna, feeling separation from Krishna. I'm sure that's what it's referring to. It wouldn't be referring rising when one is burdened by too much pain. I mean, it might be there at the last stages of life, definitely, when the body is in a great deal of pain.
Okay, it's the pain of separation. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think so. I think that's what's being referred to. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, otherwise it wouldn't be so.
Which is not really pain at all.
No, good point. Yeah, it's not pain. It's another flavor of, at least on the more advanced devotees, when they're feeling separation, they're actually feeling the presence of Krishna. So it's another flavor of ecstasy, which is separation from Krishna. And that's what we're discussing quite in detail in Sankalpa Kaumudi. Yeah, I mean, externally, it looks like a devotee is in grief and in anxiety. It may do in their calling out for the Lord. But actually, that calling out is a symptom of their relationship and subsequent ecstasy. It's quite a deep subject, but yeah, which as I can say on that. Yeah, but this here, this purple here as well. Someone, I think these are valid points, isn't it? One may succumb to the allurement of popularity. Say a great kirtan leader, say you're leading a kirtan or you're chanting, so that's a danger. That's a danger that devotees have to be aware of and be careful of if there happen to be leaders of kirtan. And sometimes we may experience that as well. This here, isn't it? Sometimes we're too tired. We may be to exuberantly to take part in the Sankirtan with great energy. We may be, or we may be too sick. So therefore, meditation might seem better. But I like the answer to that is that actually the devotees, this is that here described that for it's not by one's own endeavor that one experiences Krishna in Sankirtan. It's the Lord's mercy. So it's a great gift. And it overwhelms one, where one becomes oblivious to such as what's mentioned here. Because by contact with Krishna, one feels a great to be contact Krishna means to develop humility as well. So within the Sankirtan, then you're safe because it's a gift from the Lord. And you overcome physical strength. I think that's what I think that is what is being highlighted here. But I like that it's a gift from the Lord, so we can only humbly beseech the Lord. I say this because sometimes we're chanting in Sankirtan or Japa, and as Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, we may just be spitting out letters of the alphabet. And Krishna we might not abruptly feel Krishna's presence. Yeah. But then there's times when we do profoundly feel something wonderful in the kirtan or in our japa. And that's when and that's the mercy of Krishna. And it comes by its own sweet will, it comes by Krishna's own sweet desire. There's nothing that we can mechanically do to invoke that, except beg for that. And it's a gift. Yeah. Any comments on that or questions? Different experiences in chanting the holy name of the Lord in Sankirtan. Sometimes it will be very ecstatic. Sometimes you can't wait till the kirtan to end. Unfortunately, sometimes devotees experience that. Oh, I can't wait till the kirtan ends. Otherwise, please don't let it end. Please let it continue. I'm sure we will have different experiences in the congregation of chanting. Hopefully, mostly it's positive. Right. You can continue, Mother Sacha, unless there's any comments on these points which I'm speaking of. 169.
Text 169.
Yeah.
As the worshippers of the Lord desire, by the chanting his holy names, they see their sinful reaction dwindle to nothing, even the reactions they are about to suffer. And when other people somehow chant his names, they need suffer only that part of their karma already manifest. Commentary. This explains why devotees engaged in the all-powerful process of Nam Sankirtan may sometimes still feel unhappy. In the beginning of their practice, they may carry some remnants of their past sinful karma. But the Lord's names very soon clean those remnants away, including the reactions about to be suffered and even those already manifest, prarabdha, in the body and mind. Only if devotees for some reason want to keep their karma is that karma not removed. As the Lord says in Sri Hari Bhakti Subhodaya, the cycle of karma I have described is insurmountable for the demigods and the demons. But know that mortals empowered by devotional service have already escaped it. Sometimes non-devotees chant the Lord's holy names casually or unintentionally. If they somehow avoid offenses in their chanting, they too are absolved of their sinful reactions, except for their prarabdha karma. The reactions already manifest. These they must suffer, and by that suffering, their prarabdha karma also is depleted.
All right. Okay. There's quite about Nam Tattva is being explained very nicely here. So it mentions exactly what I was speaking about just now in regards to the last purport or commentary. That in the beginning of their practice, devotees this explains why devotees engage in the all-powerful process of Nam Sankirtan may sometimes still feel unhappy. Yeah. Because it's the remnants of a past karma. Also mentioned that if you want to keep your karma, then it will stay. Haven't heard that before. Yeah. Right. So if you're attached to your material situation or whatever, or your karma, then it won't be removed. There you go. So we should want the holy name to dispel all impediments, all our karma. Yeah. And it will do. And yeah. Yeah, even non-devotees chant. Yeah, so Prapta Karma will clear what Prapta Karma is. It becomes, all sinful reactions become eradicated. So the Prapta Karma basically is the body we have. And along with the body comes the concomitant sicknesses, etc., that we have to suffer. As far as I understand, that's what Prapta Karma means, yeah. But that, what we have to go through is something we are being relieved from. Yeah. So we are going through it. Yeah. And the process of Nam Sankirtan will take us through that and hopefully come out the other end in a spiritual body eventually. Any questions here about this?
Two types of karma, Prabhu. Prarabdha, and the other one I've forgotten the name.
Prarabdha in the body and mind, and
the other one?
Oh, this is just the one I can see here. Is there?
Okay.
Yes, the same.
Two. I can't remember. One that gets cleansed off, but Prarabdha we have to suffer. I've forgotten the other one.
That's what we just shared. The other one, and mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion, isn't it? There's different sinful reactions that enter like seeds into the subtle body that we have to, which some take fruit. They generally take seed and they may manifest in the next life, in different ways. But the chanting of the pure holy name, it eradicates all those sinful reactions, even in the seed, but not the Prarabdha karma, which is manifest as in the body. Yeah. Yeah, that's Prarabdha karma.
But they do get light when we chant and we do devotional service, do they?
We do get light? Say it again.
I mean, the Prarabdha karma doesn't have a happy effect as we would have had we not had devotional service or chanting or anything that we hadn't done.
Yeah, that's correct. That's how we see it. Prabhupada explained like that. If you was due to get, if you hit your head, and sometimes devotees describe that, last life you was meant to get your head cut off. So Krishna, so one gets a lesser, one may get a lesser, a lesser reaction. One may do. I think anyone else heard that's described like that?
It would be like we should be cut with a hacksaw, but we only get a prick of a needle. Yeah,
that's it. So we see it as the Lord's grace. Actually, my Lord, I'm so sinful that I should have got much more than what I am suffering from now. But still, as we can see practically in our devotional communities, devotees get sick, devotees get cancer, devotees go through the same type of things that the non-devotees go through, isn't it? If we look in our communities, devotees get hospitalized, devotees get strokes. Some devotees, some become, they suffer from, become disease of the brain, senile in the last part of life. Yeah. But there's a difference. But the difference is that their reactions or their binds while going through that they're becoming free. They're becoming unbound through that suffering. So it's purifying them. It's bringing them closer to Krishna. Whereas the non-devotees going through the adhyatmic or adhyatmic miseries, is that right? Adhyatmic miseries. Then they are not becoming free of things. They're becoming more entangled and more bitter and more illusioned, in their suffering, if they're not if they don't have faith in Krishna or faith in the faith in the Lord. So they becoming, so their disease, their difficulties, or their sickness is can be a cause of quite intense mental problems because of their physical state. And they go into what's called existential crisis about their life, in that suffering. But devotees, it's different. They may get cancer, they may get different diseases, but Krishna's present there. Yeah. They actually see it as Krishna's mercy at some point. Eventually, they come to terms with it and they accept it as something that they have to go through. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, there's one devotee, my spiritual master mentioned that one devotee, he got the notice of cancer. I mean, I'm not recommending this. It depends on the personal disposition of devotees, but this devotee got cancer. So obviously he was offered the usual, which is radiotherapy, chemotherapy, etc., etc. And he said, no, forget it. Just get me a one-way ticket to Vrindavan. So he could have, they gave him an opportunity to live for 3 or 4 more years by taking, chemo or radiotherapy. He said, forget it. Just buy me a one-way ticket. Let me get it done with. So he did that. Got a one-way ticket to Raj and lived another 8 months and went back to Godhead. Yeah. Why prolong it anymore? That was one particular devotee's resolve. Others might be different. They might take, to try and alleviate the cancer, for example, to spend more time in preparing for leaving the world. Yeah, so prapta karma.
Well, I know Jain sannyasis. When the Jain sannyasis are really ill and they think, oh, well, the body is useless now.
Yeah.
So they stop eating.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And within 15 days of not eating, they automatically go, and there is no lamentation of leaving the body. They just go.
And that's their standard?
That's their standard. Jain sannyasis, yes.
That's what they all do, yeah?
Well, the sannyasis do, not the normal Jain, not the normal Gruhasthas and all that. No, the sannyasis do it.
Wow, that's pretty intense.
Some Grihasthas do as well in Jain.
Some
Grihasthas, they also do that.
They also do that.
In our family, they do it.
Oh. Prabhupada did that at one point, didn't he? And his pastime of leaving the world, then he refused. At some point, he shut down all intake of food and solids.
Yeah, towards the end.
Yeah, towards the very end, yeah. But it sounds like these Jain sannyasis, they kind of hurry it up a bit. Rather than hang around in a hospital for too long or whatever, they just stop eating, yeah? Well,
they don't go to the hospital.
They don't go, all right. All right, they don't even bother. Okay, they just stop eating and drinking, and that's it. I'm out of here.
Yeah, right. But they're so detached from the body that it doesn't matter. They're quite happy to go. They do it happily.
Yeah. So we should be like that as well. Perhaps I don't. It's not a regulative principle for Vaishnavas. They leave everything in Krishna's hands. Yeah. All right, Hare Krishna. Prapta karma. Hare Krishna. It's coming. It's there. It's manifest before us now. Hare Krishna. Okay, you can read 170 as well, Mother Sahachari. And if anyone else would like to read, you can raise your hand in the meantime.
Text 170. The great souls who spontaneously serve the names of Lord Hari fear to reveal the vast treasure of his confidential devotional service. So they behave in a peculiar ways to show their own faults and unhappiness. Commentary. What about advanced worshippers like Bharata Maharaj, whose impending sinful reactions apparently kept going on, We should understand that when saintly devotees like Bharat, deeply absorbed in the moods of loving service to the Lord, seem to exhibit material attachment, as when Bharat became obsessed with the care of a fawn, and when they seem to fall into bad association and miserable conditions, as when Bharat took his next birth as an animal, they are only pretending to be materially affected in order to keep the confidential mood of devotional service hidden from the public view. Such devotees would rather be treated with undeserved contempt than honored and worshipped.
All right, okay. So Bharat Maharaj is often a subject of our readings, and isn't it? So here, interesting. Well, as we know, Bharat Maharaj, he, as we mentioned a few times in our recent readings, he deliberately kept himself in order to stay hidden. Yeah. Yeah, so some devotees, we should be careful. Some of our senior devotees, Prabhupada disciples or others, senior devotees, they will often deliberately act in ways to take attention away from them as being advanced in any way. Yeah. They will often do that. Sometimes, yeah. So they're very advanced. They may act in very, what from our perspective seems very normal or unadvanced ways, you know, to try and not attract attention. So we should, yeah, so keep that in mind, yeah. Hare Krishna. Yeah, there's one devotee I'm thinking of like that. He always makes out he falls asleep in a japa. But he's doing it just to, I mean, I know for a fact, because I won't explain how I know, but I know he kind of nods out, in japa. But really, he's kind of hiding his ecstasies. Anyway, Hare Krishna. All right, let's have, we got a few hands up. Mother Lavangalataka, you'd like to read a few verses?
Yeah, thank you. Text 171. Yeah. All the devotees of the Lord are freed from contamination and misery simply by the sankirtan of his names. Yet some devotees, as disturbed by compassion as the Lord himself, act in these ways to teach people civilized behavior. Commentary. Shouldn't advanced devotees, in order to deliver the world from ignorance, let everyone see their greatness? Yes, but the so-called anomalous behavior of Vaishnavas like Bharat Maharaj is in fact their way of teaching sadachar, civilized human behavior. By the examples of their own lives, they show the consequences of violating the laws of God and material nature. For if people fail to learn how to act according to civilized standards, their hearts will remain contaminated by sinful desires, and they will never become inclined toward the Lord's devotional service.
Yeah, so if they exhibit great symptoms of great ecstasy and becoming completely oblivious to the world around them, like avadutas, we have some examples of avadutas, or Bharat Maharaj and avaduta. Who is it? Vamsidas Babaji, the famous one. Yeah, completely from the external point of view, to the unintelligent, to the unenlightened person, this person's a madman. This person's crazy. So they're few and far in between. Generally, Vaishnavas, if they are very advanced, they will act in a civil way in order to set the right example. Well, you can imagine if every Vaishnava acted like an avadut, what our society would look like, and what the devotees and how they would be acting. If all our senior devotees acted like avaduts. I mean, we have a couple, we have a few, but we followed the footsteps of Prabhupada. No? Prabhupada acted civilly. So he could have gone into deep bhajan, and become completely unconnected to the world in every way, shape, and form, and just locked himself up in great ecstasy. and chanting the holy name. Yeah, but no, he conducted himself like every other one, like, of course, in the Krishna conscious way. Yeah, he conducted himself in a civil way. Yeah, relating to people, dealing nicely with guests, regulated diet, regulated life, sattvic, showing how to act properly in this world. Yeah. Yeah. Sadachar means behavior or Vaishnav etiquette. Yeah, sadachar. Yeah. So shouldn't imitate avadutas. All right, Hare Krishna. Any comments, please feel free to share. If not, you can read on.
Yeah, text 172. As Bharat and others showed the fault of bad association, Yudhisthira and others the fault of gambling, and Nirga and others the fear of caused by taking a Brahmana's property, pure souls generally use their own behavior to teach the people. Commentary. Bharat Maharaj showed by his own life the danger of wrong association. Although almost perfectly devoted and renounced, he was distracted into caring for a newborn deer, and therefore had to suffer birth as a deer. A similar case is that of Subari Rishi, who was deviated from meditation by seeing two fish engaged in sex. In the opinion of the Vaikuntha Dutas, however, in reality these elevated souls were faultless. Text 173.
Okay.
Yeah. By the power of bhakti, you will have many realizations time and again, and for certain you will conquer your most formidable obstacles. In all circumstances, be assured we are your helpers. Commentary. Since devotees may have to endure formidable rests while practicing Nam Sankirtan, Gopakumar may doubt his own fitness to take up the process. The visitors from Vaikuntha assure him, therefore, that he should not be doubtful and hesitant, but should begin Nam Sankirtan with all confidence. If he is worried that he cannot expect to succeed without the blessings of pure devotees, he should rest assured that the Vaikuntha Dutas will always be there to help him wherever he goes. If he needs to understand anything philosophically or has any difficulties to overcome, they will give him the support he needs.
Yeah, I remember my Guru Maharaj was speaking of this. I think he was referring to this here, this verse that he will get help, but specifically is mentioned here the Vaikuntha Dutas will actually be there shadowing him, so to speak, and assisting him, as it said, be assured we are your helpers. So he was, as far as I can recall, that's for devotees in general. Once the Lord or the Lord's associates will be shadowing and will be looking over us.
Yeah, I think we read this before.
Okay,
so very similar to this in a previous purport, where it did say that like higher living entities will be helping the devotees.
Yeah, the celestials or the higher. Yeah, okay. So we mentioned this before. Yeah. Now we may not be abruptly aware of it. We may be by their mercy, but oftentimes we won't be. But here we're just being given assurance. That we are not on our own. We have to in this world. We can say that the general body of devotees, or in this world, the devotees have to face many difficult situations. As we can see, presently in the world at the moment is very unstable, and there are many devotees in Ukraine, in other places, have to face very difficult situations. But we should have faith that the Lord is our protector, and or the Lord's Vaikuntha Dutas. So we should have faith in that.
I mean, for instance, in Israel, I think there was like a Kirtan festival on the Dead Sea, which finished like the day of the attacks or something like that. And so the devotees who may have been in the danger zone were actually at the Kirtan festival.
So there you go. Yeah.
And I thought, well, Krishna is protecting the devotees. Yeah.
Yeah. There may be instances where it seems like devotees do succumb to,
Yeah.
we have examples of that. But again, there's a specific plan of the Lord which is in place there.
Like in Bangladesh, when that devotee, when they attacked the temple and killed at least one devotee, I think.
Yeah, it's a good point. So we're not blind in our having faith in the Lord, because the atheists say, yeah, okay, you can say that the Lord protected me, yeah, but what about what happened to this Hare Krishna? What about that to that Hare Krishna? Just like the example, mother, that wonderful, not wonderful story, but dramatic story of a mother, Hladini, who was a New Vrindavan. You know, she was killed. You know, that's quite dramatic story where she tried to save the devotees who were being lined up to be shot. And she passionately shouted and she was shot. So we should basically we should understand, okay, no, there's a plan for this particular devotee. And sometimes devotees will be glorified for their faith in the Lord, like Mother Haladini. That's something, she's glorified for that, for her fearlessness and her sincere desire to not see devotees suffer. So sometimes devotees will succumb to being killed, but that's also, we should understand, there's a plan of the Lord, you know. And when devotees are saved, that's an obvious one to say, yes, that's just see Krishna's mercy. Then the kirtan happened, and therefore one wasn't, as we mentioned, in danger. What about if the opposite happened? If they were attacked and killed? Okay, that's also Krishna's arrangement. Of course, the atheist doesn't like this type of faith of the theist, you know. Always have faith in Krishna, no matter what happens. So we see both, isn't it? We see both. Anyway, we're focusing on the positive at the moment, that the Lord is protecting us from danger. Yeah. Any other comments on that? Yeah. Okay, continue.
I was just thinking, like, yes, we can see, like, very apparently, oh, Krishna was protecting the devotees in some cases where you see, oh, you know, this was an arrangement. But even if, like, something like, it looks like the devotee was not protected because something like physical harm came to them or they were killed, but it doesn't mean that we can still see Krishna's protection there, because it's like when Haridas Thakur was getting beaten, Lord Chaitanya showed him the marks on his back.
Yeah.
That he was taking the beating for him.
Yeah, that's a good point. So even though physically a devotee, like, for instance, good example, Haridas Thakur, but there's another, you're bringing up another dimension. Actually, Haridas Thakur did not feel anything because Lord Chaitanya was protecting him. So that also might be there as well. Like, for instance, a devotee, say they're in a car crash, during the time of the car crash, they may be directly within their soul embraced by Krishna and taken out of this world, you know. But externally, one may not see that. But we could take faith as, you're highlighting this point, example of Haridas Thakur, that it may be that they're not even aware of the details of their, for instance, a car crash happens so quick, and then Krishna may quickly embrace that devotee, the soul, and take him back to the spiritual world. you know. And he's in great bliss, and we're all here lamenting like anything. What happened? It's such a shame, but yeah. So there's so much that we cannot see. Yeah, there's so much going on which is beyond their purview. You know, if a devotee's in a coma, for example, then you know the soul cannot be put into a coma. Only the body can be put into a coma, but not the soul. So perhaps the devotee is quite relieved that he could shut down all the externals and just be completely absorbed in Krishna within the very core of his heart. You know, he doesn't have to deal with any guest or nothing like that coming to see him because he's in coma. He's with Krishna in a coma. You know, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, during the COVID time, one of our devotees in Bhaktivedanta Manor, he's a Sankirtan devotee, Maharshi Das.
Yeah,
His
yeah.
father was the first one to catch the COVID in the manor, and then he got it.
Yeah.
And he wrote that he realized it, even though he was in coma, he realized his father had left, and the nurse, this nurse and that nurse used to come and see him. They used to see he was in coma, but he could see everything. So when he came back to life, he's written down that, yes, I could see them. And he even went to meet the nurses who were looking after him, and they were surprised of how he recognized them.
Oh, this is Rishi himself. What's his name again?
Maharshi Das.
Oh, so it's like he was in a coma himself.
Yes. His father was the first one to catch COVID, and then he got it.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
Both were in the hospital in coma.
Yeah. But he was fully aware of the goings on.
Everything, yes.
Yeah, to see. So therefore he was taking shelter of Krishna, no doubt. Yeah, that.
Yeah, now he still comes in the Harinams. You can see them.
Yeah. Good points. Thank you, Hare Krishna. All right, you can read another couple of more verses. Then we'll have Mother Vishalni has a hand up. Go ahead, Mother Lavanga, text 174.
174?
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
Yeah, the greatest mercy of Sri Krishna Chandra we've found is firmly established in you, because even the arguments of the residents of Tapaloka could not dissolve your eagerness to see in person the Supreme Lord. Text 175. The form of the personality of Godhead, absolutely real, is the concentrated essence of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Only with senses that are fit can one perceive the Satchitananda form. Yet by the power of the Lord's mercy, even with the present eyes, quickly one can see it. Thus one beholds the object most suitable for one's vision. One achieves this by the Lord's mercy, or even by one's own endeavor. Commentary. This verse and the next summarize the opinions of Pippalaina Rishi, who on Tapaloka had recommended meditation to Gopakumar as the best method of realizing the Supreme Lord. Only with senses that are fit can one perceive the Lord. He has said, but the Lord's mercy can transform the limited senses of a conditioned soul, making them fit to perceive the unlimited. But the Lord's mercy potency, Karuna-sakti, his personal form is revealed to a fortunate soul, or that soul may be empowered to discover the Lord even with his own senses. No material conditions can limit the influence of the Supreme Lord's Karuna-sakti.
Karuna-sakti. First time I was seeing it described like this, the special mercy potency, the potency of mercy, Karuna-sakti. Yeah, can make anything possible in any situation. Yeah. All right, Mother Vishalni, you'd like to pick up from here? Text 176. Yeah, just a point here. Just remember that Pippalaina Rishi on Tapaloka was convincing with quite good, solid arguments, actually, for Gopakumar to take up the process of meditation. Yeah. But the Vishnu Dutas were glorifying the Sankirtan of the holy name as being superior. So that's what's being referred to here. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Mother Vishalni, are you still there?
Yes, I will carry on. Even though one's vision of the Lord has its origin in the eyes of knowledge, one may think, quote, I am seeing him with my own two eyes, unquote. This simply indicates the power of Krishna's mercy, by which the devotee feels his own special joy. Unfurl.
Yeah.
Unfurl.
Means to unfold.
Okay.
Special joy to unfurl or to unfold.
Commentary. Some less devotional thinkers would argue to Pipalina that one can behold the Supreme Lord only with the eyes of knowledge, not with external senses. If the Supreme were an object of material vision, they would say he could not be transcendentally self-manifest. Pipalina would respond that even if this is true, a special ecstasy is available only to one who presumes that he sees the Lord with his own eyes. And even if devotees only imagine themselves to be seeing the personality of Godhead with their eyes, the ecstasy they experience is real. That ecstasy itself is proof that the potency of the Lord's special mercy has descended upon them, making them rejoice with wonder. Quote, the Supreme is impossible to see, but now I am seeing him right before me. Unquote.
Yeah, so here is yes, so Pipalina, I mean, the idea here is that through meditation, which is inspired by knowledge of the Lord, knowledge of his form, etc., and the details of that, then one engages in meditation. Yeah. Because so therefore, if we doubted, because this is argument against, because we have our eyes and our eyes are material. So how can we actually see the Lord with material eyes? You know, our eyeballs are made of matter. So how can we actually see the Lord? But no, what's being mentioned here? No, the Lord, by his mercy, does manifest to a devotee. And even if a devotee only imagines themselves to be seeing the personality of Godhead with their eyes, you know, that's how because they can't believe it. They think this is an imagination. The point here is that the Lord can appear shakshat darshan directly to the so-called material vision of a devotee. So a devotee can see the Lord as we can see each other. By the grace of the Lord, he appears before the devotee's eyes, but they think it's an imagination. Yeah, but it's actual real, and they feel the ecstasy of that seeing the Lord. And this is their ecstasy. Yes, it's impossible. It's impossible. Atashi Krishna Namadi. You cannot see the Lord with our material faculties, but he's so kind. Now he's appearing before me and I'm seeing him. Wow, this is impossible, but I'm seeing him. The devotee is in great ecstasy of appreciation. So not so what the meditative yogis may say. Yeah, that meditation is superior. No. It may be in time, place, and circumstance, but generally, Hare Krishna. Any comments on that or questions?
So when they are meditating, they must be seeing the form of the Lord.
Well, it depends what level of meditation they are at. Generally, the sadhana for yogis like that is they will hear descriptions of the Lord and they will create a picture of that within the mind and meditate accordingly. So that's one level. But then there is another level where they actually the Lord is revealed on the lotus of their heart. And that's another level in of itself. That's called spruti, where the Lord actually manifests. So that's a higher level, very high level of a yogi stroke devotee who's actually meditating like that. Spruti. Yeah, one is by using our own faculties. Like we can do that now. You can close your eyes and you can think of the form of Londonishvara. You can remember the garland, like today, the darshan, beautiful outfit today. It's kind of a purple color, purple and white. And, you can meditate and you can bring the form of Londonishvara within your mind's eye. One sense, because it's Krishna, it's non-different. But in another sense, it's been constructed by your memory and by your knowledge and intelligence. Mm-hmm. But then there's Spuruti, where the Lord actually manifests himself beyond your effort. And it's not a figment of your imagination. The Lord actually manifests within you. And that was Narada Muni. Yeah, the Lord manifested within Narada. But first he was trying to do it through a sadhana, trying to invoke the presence of the Lord. But then the Lord personally appeared. Yeah, so there's different levels of achievement in this meditation. But here it's focusing on what's called Shakshat Darshan, where the Lord actually appears to one's external senses, even if they're so-called material.
Thank you, Prabhu.
No, from Hare Krishna. Karen, yeah.
177. Translation. By the force of the vast mercy of the Lord, or by the natural influence of devotional service, one can see him. So even with limited eyes, one can achieve the constant vision one may have with the mind in meditation. Commentary. Now the Vaikuntha Dutas, willing to go along no further with Pepelayan's thinking, refute one of his ideas. Pepelayan might say, quote, seeing the Supreme Lord with one's own eyes is imperfect because by natural external perception is imperfect. Interruptions and obstacles will inevitably impede one's external vision of the Lord. The mind, however, is extremely subtle. It can reach everywhere and enjoy undisturbed darshan of the Lord in all circumstances, unquote. Although this is not one of the things Pepelayan told Gopkumar on Tapalok, the Vaikuntha Dutas refuted in this verse. By the Supreme Lord's infinite mercy, even external eyes can see him in all his splendor. This is further evidence of the great efficacy of devotional service.
Yeah, again, what's the word? Karuna-sakti, the Shakti of mercy. So yeah, the Lord can appear before anyone, anytime. There's one story just comes to mind. There was one, this was in the days of the English ruling India. And there was one lord or one English gentleman was posted there in India, somewhere in South India. And here, can't remember the details. The point I remember is that he actually had darshan of Sita and Ram. They actually appeared to him. And he writes about it. And he became, and the way he writes about it, you can tell he's actually seeing the actual Sita and Ram appeared before him. Now, he wasn't a Hindu. He wasn't worshipping Sita Ram. He was probably doing nefarious activities and exploiting, as the English did. They exploited India. I don't know whether he did exact, but they appeared to him. And he became devoted to them, although he still maintained his English stature as a lord. He was very much devoted, and the way he described the beauty of Ram, it was just there is such a way he describes it. You get a sense that he actually did see them. So sometimes that can happen as well. Mm-hmm. There's many stories like that. There's another story that we hear, isn't it? When one thief, he heard about Krishna, descriptions from the sadhus of Krishna, wearing all these beautiful jewelry, pearls and gold. We've heard this story. So he was a bit innocent. He didn't know exactly the whole philosophy of Krishna, the whole tattva. He just heard that this person, Krishna, who lives in Raj, this young boy, is wearing all this expensive jewelry. So he went to Vrindavan and he's looking for Krishna. And he's very, Krishna, where is this Krishna? Where is this Krishna? Where is this Krishna? Of course, devotees all probably, they all, lots of sadhus there, so they're all saying Krishna. So he wants to find him. And then Krishna, he's so determined to find Krishna that Krishna actually appears before him. He's not chanted around in his life. He's probably might not be following the regulative principles. He's never read Srimad Bhagavatam. He's a thief. But Krishna, by his pure sweet will, appeared before this thief. And then he was starting to request the jewelry of Krishna. Krishna said, "Nah, my mother will be displeased. Sorry, I cannot give you this jewelry. Otherwise, I will get in trouble with Yasoda Mata." So yeah, Krishna can. Yeah, so Krishna can appear before us as well. You may be walking, wherever you may be, Krishna can appear before us. We may be chanting our japa, the same place we chant our japa. Then one day Krishna may just appear before us. Apparently, there's a story that happened in New Vajdam where one Mataji, I think I said this before, she was she heard in a lecture that being inattentive in chanting is like something like throwing ashes on Krishna, something like that. We've heard that description. So as she was chanting japa, she was so in grief because she knew she's chants with inattention, and she felt so bereaved that she was causing pain to Krishna by her inattentive chanting. This was her mood. Mataji called Radhakund Mataji, and she passed away since. And Krishna Shakshat appeared to her external vision in the temple and came to her and put his arm round her and pacified her. And she writes it, there's one diary that she wrote, and she writes that description, that she understood that Krishna had just come from herding the cows because his hair was covered in dust. And it wasn't something she was imagining in her mind. It was Krishna in the temple room who actually came to her and put his arm around her, to like pacify her. Quite amazing, yeah. Krishna, and she wrote about it later. And at that point, after that experience, she was very Krishna conscious after that particular experience. And she describes a great, bhav and ecstasy which she experiences after that point. So Krishna can, even if we're not on the level of bhava, even if we're not on the level of a shakti, even whatever, Krishna can appear before you. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. Perhaps on that point. So yeah. Krishna can by his grace. Yeah. All right, we'll stop there, shall we, for today? And this is a wonderful part, isn't it, of Bhagavatamrta? Or any comments, final comments or questions on that? Otherwise, hopefully I've planted a seed of your desire for you that might happen to us. Radha Krishna may appear before us. Of course, devotees have dreams as well, isn't it? Deities or the Lord appears in one's dream. Many devotees can tell stories of that. I'm sure some of you has such stories. Yeah, so even though we're unqualified, the Lord is very merciful. What's that word again? Karuna-sakti. Yeah, this is like today's reading. We can go away with this. Karuna-sakti. Everything is possible by the Karuna-sakti of the Lord. Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone. thank you for joining. Thank you for allowing me and everyone to read this, getting together this wonderful kirtan. And we have a wonderful weekend and look forward to next week's Krishna Katha. Okay.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.